The outdated practice of paying a bride price in China is once again under scrutiny. A Chinese doctoral student studying in Rotterdam, the Netherlands, reportedly asked her Dutch boyfriend for 88,000 euros as a bride price after discovering she was pregnant in March 2024. Instead of agreeing to marry her, the boyfriend disappeared. Initially, the couple was overjoyed upon learning about the pregnancy and began planning their wedding. However, when the woman brought up the bride price, her boyfriend became suspicious. He recalled alarming stories online about fraudulent marriages and feared she might be using him to gain European residency. He decided to report the situation to the police. Reports suggest that the woman had previously been married in China. That marriage ended in divorce due to long-distance issues after she moved abroad for her studies. Her first marriage reportedly involved a bride price of 660,000 yuan. To put the current request in context, 88,000 euros represents about a year's income for an average person in the Netherlands. Bride prices are not part of Dutch culture. From a local perspective, demanding money as a condition for marriage, especially when the woman is already pregnant, is often equated with fraud. In fact, according to laws in Europe and North America, asking for financial gifts tied to marriage or pregnancy can be classified as fraud. Reports also claim that this highly educated doctoral student was detained for her demand for a large bride price. Drawing widespread criticism, her actions were described as a source of embarrassment for China abroad. A simple internet search using terms like international marriage and fake marriages reveals numerous stories about individuals attempting to gain foreign residency through fraudulent means. In many cases, these attempts end with financial and emotional losses or deportation. One widely shared example involved a man holding a sign to raise awareness about his plight. He claimed he had entered a fake marriage with a woman from Qingdao who had already obtained Australian residency. He agreed to pay her 400,000 yuan in exchange for helping him obtain a green card. However, in the end, the woman disappeared with the money and he never received his residency. Bride prices have traditionally been a part of Chinese marriage customs. The intention was to bring joy to the wedding and show respect to the bride's family. In most cases, the bride's family would only take a symbolic amount or would return a significant portion to the newlyweds to help them establish their home. Furthermore, the amount of the bride price was meant to reflect the groom's financial situation, with the principle of affordability in mind. In recent years, however, with economic challenges and a slowing economy, the cost of marriage, including bride prices, has skyrocketed. This shift has distorted the tradition's original purpose, instead fueling marital anxiety and societal issues such as fear of marriage and the growing number of older single women. On December 18, 2024, a woman named Aoyang Weiwei became the subject of public criticism at a matchmaking corner in Hangzhou's Wansong Academy. She was shamed for demanding an unreasonably high bride price during her search for a partner.
Next year, my bride price will go up. This year, it's 880,000 yuan. Next year, it will be 1 million yuan. I'm 38 this year.
Just wait another 10 years. By the time you're 48, you could ask for 1,800,000 yuan, right? The older you get, the higher the bride price.
Next year, my bride price will go up.
A 38-year-old single woman faced widespread ridicule after demanding a bride price of 880,000 yuan. Some even mocked her publicly, with one person saying, "If I married you, the most I'd offer you is 10 yuan, just 10 yuan." In response, Ouyang Weiwei fired back, saying, "Dream on. Even if I were sealed in cement, I still wouldn't marry you." In live streams with other hosts, Aoyang often stated that her bride price couldn't be less than 800,000 yuan. After failing at in-person matchmaking, she turned to online matchmaking, but was met with harsh criticism. Some people didn't hold back, saying, at her age, even her ability to have children is questionable, and she's asking for 800,000 yuan? Who has that kind of money to marry her? Although Aoyang initially argued back, she eventually realized there was truth in the criticism. After facing multiple setbacks, she admitted she regretted demanding such a high bride price.
I'm the woman who asked for 800,000 yuan as a bride price. I really regret it now. I've wasted my chances. I want to tell everyone, don't delay in getting married. Now I just pray for another chance to find love.
In the video, she's saying in tears.
我把自己玩砸了，砸在手里了，我没有青春了。
Aoyang even apologized for looking down on ordinary people and for being overly demanding in the past. She urged other women not to let unrealistic expectations leave them alone and unsupported in the future. Her heartfelt apology led to a shift in the public's tone. Some people began offering her advice and encouragement. If you really want to get married, just be more practical. Instead of crying alone, why not see if there's someone suitable around you? It's not too late. Reflecting on your mistakes can lead to a better future. Best wishes to you. Realizing your shortcomings shows you're not a bad person at heart. These comments reflect a common perspective. Many women set their expectations too high without considering their age or other limitations. On January 13th, 2025, Aoyang went to Shanghai for another matchmaking event and once again faced online ridicule.
Today, I'm here at the Shanghai People's Park for a matchmaking event. I don't know what the scene will be like. Let's check it out. Normally, I just stay home all the time. Other than being a little older, what else can you criticize about me? Yeah, the only thing people criticize is my age. Don't use 10 yuan to insult others, okay?
This is a 10 yuan bride price.
Keep your 10 yuan for yourself. There's no way I can even spend it all.
This is for marrying you. If you don't marry me, I'll die right here in front of you.
Let me tell you, I'm completely speechless because of you. If I'm a postgraduate, it's not too much to ask for a partner with at least a bachelor's degree, right? I have a car, a house, so it's reasonable for me to expect a man with a car and a house too. As for the bride price, I'm asking for 100,000 yuan. It's not a high demand.
Many women have idolized views of marriage, often missing the best time to settle down. Aoyang was one of them. She believed that if she held out long enough, she would find a man willing to pay the 800,000 yuan bride price. However, reality proved otherwise. Now, with her friends and family urging her to marry, Aoyang feels uncertain about how to interact with potential partners. She has since lowered the bride price demand to 100,000 yuan. For a woman, being 38 years old comes with challenges. It often means declining fertility, fewer choices, and increasing social pressure. Aoyang's struggle are a reflection of what many older single women face. Once full of dreams about marriage, they miss the ideal time due to various reasons, only to find themselves in an awkward situation. In China, the bride price is a tradition that dates back thousands of years. It was originally intended as a symbolic gift from the groom's family to the brides, representing respect and goodwill rather than profit. However, in modern times, the practice has been distorted. Skyrocketing bride prices have turned into a burden, with some families going into debt just to meet marriage demands, creating situations where one marriage plunges the entire family into debt.
Marriage in rural areas has become so competitive. This is my hometown, a rural area in northern Anhui. Women who went to college generally expect the man to buy a house in Hefei, the provincial capital. For those who didn't go to college, buying a house in the county is the minimum requirement. Without a house, there's no matchmaking, there's nothing to discuss. Does a self-built rural house count? No, it doesn't. Talk about the house first, then talk about marriage. Marriage in rural areas has 3 steps. The first step is the engagement, where 60,000 to 100,000 yuan is directly given. The second step is the bride price, which ranges from 180,000 to 400,000 yuan, and on the day before the wedding, there are additional gifts. Aside from a whole pig and lamb, you also need to bring cigarettes, alcohol, nuts, and candy, 10 of each item, which adds up to 50,000 to 60,000 yuan. So excluding the house and car, a rural wedding costs about 500,000 yuan in total. It's even harder for families with 2 sons. 99% of women who will refuse to consider them once they hear about the two sons. Seeing this, you might be as shocked as I am. This is the reality in rural areas. Why is marriage in rural areas so competitive? It's because there are more men than women. Among 10 marriageable young people born in the 1990s, only 3 to 4 are women, while 6 to 7 are men. With women having more choices, bride prices naturally go up. For an average family, even if parents save every penny their whole lives, it might not be enough to get a bride for their son. They will have to borrow money.
China's 40-year family planning policy, combined with the traditional preference for boys over girls, has caused a gender imbalance in rural areas. This has made it increasingly difficult for young rural men to find wives. In recent years, bride prices in some rural regions have not only remained high, but continued to rise. However, soaring bride prices has just one part of the overall cost of rural marriages. In some areas, grooms' families also face 5 to 10 additional expenses. These include paying for a veil fee, purchasing 3 gold items such as necklaces, bracelets, and rings, as well as covering banquet costs and wedding photo sessions. These financial demands place an overwhelming burden on many rural families with sons. Despite high bride prices, young women are increasingly reluctant to marry into rural areas. More women from villages marry into cities, while it is rare for urban women to move to rural areas after marriage. In recent years, news about exorbitant bride prices has become common, with some cases reaching shocking extremes.
How much bride price would be needed to marry you, in your opinion? About 8 million yuan, but whatever bride price you give me, I'll return it as part of my dowry. You think that's normal? Do you think people can actually afford it? Well, all my friends' bride prices are around that figure.
How much bride price would be needed to marry you?
In my hometown, the starting bride price is 2 million yuan.
And how much would you personally ask for?
My grandmother's family set it at 6 million yuan.
6 million? That's enough to buy 4 houses in my hometown.
It's about matching social status. This way, my family can proudly say, my daughter's bride price was 6 million yuan, and it will make them feel very proud.
With the approach of the Chinese New Year in 2025, January has become a peak season for weddings, and high bride prices have once again become a hot topic in society.
Where I'm from, bride prices have 2 extremes. In Jiangyin, Jiangsu province, a man marrying a local woman already has to pay 1.9 million yuan in 2024. For women from other areas, the price depends on local norms. 10 years ago, my bride price was just over 300,000 yuan. A few years ago, it climbed to 1.3 million and then 1.5 million, and now it's 1.9 million in 2024. If the man's family is wealthy, the bride price can go even higher. If the woman's family is average, then a bride price of 200,000 to 400,000 yuan is acceptable. It all depends on both families.
Many young men have been significantly affected by these high costs. Recently, at a matchmaking corner in Guangzhou's Tianhe Park, over 100 parents gathered with signs listing their children's ages, heights, education level, and other details, hoping to find them a match. One 30-year-old man attending the event said he was already under pressure to buy a house. If bride prices remain this high, he just simply won't get married. On platforms like Xiaohongshu, discussions about bride prices are everywhere. Posts such as in Shandong, "Don't bother coming if the bride price is less than 200,000 yuan," and "Marriage requires a car, a house, and no less than 300,000 yuan for the bride price," have shocked many readers. Is asking for a bride price reasonable? Some argue that bride prices provide financial security for women, while others believe it's an unfair burden for men. My mother raised me all these years. Why shouldn't I ask for a bride price? Are you marrying off your daughter or selling her? These debates are heated and show no sign of resolution. Some social media influencers seeking attention have exaggerated stories of exorbitant bride prices, creating unnecessary anxiety and influencing public attitudes. In recent years, rising bride prices have caused tensions in relationships, with some couples breaking up due to disagreements over the cost of marriage. Your family wants 300,000 yuan as a bride price and a 1.5 million yuan house. How do you expect me to survive? Where am I supposed to get the money? Are you trying to drive me to my death? Without another word, you slap me in the face. Forget it, I'm not getting married. Faced with these high costs, many people are either discouraged from marrying or have grown afraid of marriage. Exorbitant bride prices have also led to social problems such as poverty caused by marriage, bachelor villages, and even bride price scams. Bride prices reaching hundreds of thousands or even millions of yuan are no longer about affordability. They're pushing prospective grooms' families to the brink of financial ruin. Some female influencers are not only demanding higher bride prices, but also setting increasingly unrealistic criteria for potential partners. These demands have reached absurd levels, rising skepticism among the public. In a street interview, a woman born in 1989, divorced, and raising a child, shared her criteria for a partner. Despite owning a house and a car and earning 800,000 to 1 million yuan annually, her expectations were still high. She said she wanted a man who was more successful than she is, with an annual income of at least 2 million yuan, as well as a house and a car in Guangzhou. She also preferred someone who had never been married. Hearing her demands, the interviewer found them unrealistic and asked, "Do you think this is reasonable?" The woman gave an awkward laugh and replied, "I don't think it's impossible." The host, unable to remain silent, offered her some advice. The woman, appearing offended, abruptly ended the interview. According to the last marriage report in China, the number of marriage registrations in 2024 is expected to drop below 6.6 million, an unprecedented low in history. This represents a decline of nearly 943,000 compared to 7.7 million registrations in 2023. News of the record low marriage registrations for 2024 recently trended on Weibo, sparking widespread discussion about declining marriage rates, rising marriage costs, and exorbitant bride prices. Many are questioning why the outdated practice of bride prices remains so persistent in the 21st century China. The rising amounts demanded for bride prices are increasing the barriers to marriage. Several factors contribute to this trend. First, the culture of comparison. Bride prices have become a topic of competition among families, used to signal social status and financial strength. Higher bride prices are seen as a source of pride, while lower amounts are viewed as a lack of value. This mindset has led to a relentless increase in demands, with families fearing judgment if the marriage fails. Second, the gender imbalance. Data from China's 2021 census showed that there are 17.5 million more men than women aged 20 to 40, the prime marriage demographic. In a society with more men than women, grooms often offer higher bride prices to demonstrate sincerity and capability. Third, the widening wealth gap. Over the past few decades, income inequality in China has grown. In poorer regions, some families see bride prices as an opportunity to improve their financial situation. This has created the paradox of higher bride price demands in the most impoverished areas. Fourth, concerns about economic uncertainty. Traditional practices reflect broader economic anxieties. Historically, bride prices were gifts for the bride's parents. Today, many parents transfer the money to their daughters as a form of financial security. They hope the funds will help their daughters face challenges such as childbirth, career pressures, or even divorce. A higher bride price is seen as providing greater protection for the bride's future.